How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the VAR You Serious podcast. We are in high spirits over here. Dad, I don't know if you saw the Rapids whooped up on LA Galaxy last night 4-1. Hell of a match from them. Did you see any of the game?
Yeah, I saw Yappy scored early. I think it was 1-1 the last I checked, and then I didn't have a chance to watch the rest and woke up this morning. I'm like, whoa, 4-1. All right.
That's got to be the first time in a while the Rapids have, kind of put belt to butt on the Galaxy there. It doesn't usually happen, but I think
Yeah, the
Galaxy got a red
Galaxy
card too. So
Galaxy sucked last year, and I'm not sure how much better they're going to be this year. They may suck just as badly, but listen, 4-1 win, back-to-back home wins. I will take it any day of the week for sure.
Well, and what's his name? Ricky Puig, I think is how you say it.
Yeah.
They're like the MVP from 2 years ago is out again this season. Like he
Right.
retore the ACL.
Right. Yeah,
So
they're a mess.
yeah, complete mess. But I mean, pretty good week overall. All Arsenal had a fun game at Mansfield. I don't know if you saw it, Dad. I thought it was kind of fun. The Mansfield player that's an Arsenal fan won man of the match. And I think he
I did see
scored
that.
the goals.
Well, yeah, didn't he talk about one day he would play for Arsenal or against Arsenal?
He
So
said
at
that
least,
was the dream. So
well,
accomplished.
there you go. Right. And gosh, they played Arsenal much tighter than I thought. Like I was
Yeah.
like, what is happening?
Although I will
So
say Arsenal is the first Premier League team ever to start two 16-year-olds in an FA Cup game.
yeah,
So
for sure.
definitely credit where credit's due. Mansfield played a good game. I mean, arguably Max Dowman running the show a little bit in that one at 16 years old is frightening to say the least for other fans.
Frightening for them, glorious for Arsenal fans. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. But Dad, we're going to stick on the Arsenal topic here today. It's our one big thing. It's just in the headlines every day, so we need to talk about it. But the classic debate right now is Arsenal ruining football or perfecting kind of a tactical masterclass here. Obviously, Fabian Hertzler earlier in the week from the Brighton game essentially said he would never choose to win football games the way Arsenal's winning them. Multiple pundits constantly criticizing Arsenal for the ways they're winning, the tactics they're playing. Dad, what do you think about this? Like, first off the rip impression of these people coming out and saying these things.
one word, jealousy. What would they rather watch Man City cheat some more? I understand the point they're making, but that point about soccer in general is league-wide. It's a league-wide problem if it exists. And listen, if Arsenal is the reason it's happening, that their style is what people are copying, whatever it might be, that means it's working. And
Yeah.
is it, the beautiful game would like to see? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, as a fan, it's plenty exciting and nerve-wracking. And so you get the same kind of highs, lows, whatever. And to me, it's just ridiculous. I think people are petrified by the idea of Arsenal winning a triple or a quadruple or whatever, which I don't think they will. But people they are clearly showing their jealousy and their misunderstanding. It's like, fine, don't watch then. Don't watch.
Well, and I think it goes back to Arsenal always used to get dogged on for playing the beautiful football that we played under Arsene Wenger. Beautiful tiki-taka, amazing passages of play. And yes, it got some success, but towards the end, it wasn't what got you over the line. There's the famous line, I think the announcer says against Chelsea, Drogba scores and he says, Arsenal play the football, Chelsea win the football match, or something along those lines. And it
Right.
just goes back to this has been going on. And I mean, Chelsea were culprits of it for years under Mourinho, and it's a way to play. And a lot of people have said, Arteta can't get over the line against Guardiola. It's like, well, I think Arteta realized sometimes you can't beat the master at his own game. You need to find your own way and pave your own way to dominance, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly what he's done. I'm sure, having watched Arteta play, he would rather play a more fluid style. But honestly, like, that's not Arteta's fault. This whole playing out of the back, the fact that, I mean, I think I saw some kind of stat recently where center backs are getting the most touches in football. That
Yeah.
is not Arteta's fault. That is not Arsenal's fault.
It's the
Arteta
overall
is
game, right? I mean,
Arteta is just trying to do what what the game is now calling for. Yes, I would like to see that change. You know, I myself, especially with a high school team, they don't have that technical ability. I'm not playing out of the back like that. I do think it's slow. I do think it's boring. I do think it's nerve-wracking.
yeah.
But that's just what the game is, and Arteta did not start that.
Well, it's adaptability too, right? I mean, you see Arne Slot and some of these other managers complain about the low blocks and how teams are playing and the physicality. And it's like, okay, well, you can't control what another team's doing against you. And if it works for them, they're going to do it because they're looking for points and to get climb the table, right? And so I think Arsenal has simply realized, okay, if that's how they want to play, this is how we're going to play. And it's going to piss them off. And clearly that's what it's done over the past few months, if not the whole season, right?
Yeah, and the fact is, I mean, I think you had a stat up here, I can't find it, but, like, Arsenal's still scoring a hell of a lot of goals.
Yeah.
And yes, a fair amount of them come on set pieces, but not all of them. They're still scoring plenty of goals from open play. So, like, honestly, I'm not sure what these people want. Right. And honestly, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And once again, it's not just Arsenal. And like you kind of alluded to, you know, teams in the bottom half of the table, near the relegation zone, in the relegation zone, right? They're doing that low block, like you said, to try to get a point. I cannot blame them. They, because of the spending, they do not have the ability to run their horses at the same pace as an Arsenal or Man City or Liverpool. So
Especially with the depth of the top teams, I mean, they can bring on other guys who are just as good, if not better. I mean, it's a constant battle. And I understand, maybe it's a frustration from those teams that are smaller. They simply cannot keep up with this overpowering kind of physical dominance and psychological dominance that Arsenal is displaying the most of. But Dad, to your point, Arsenal are the third team this season to eclipse 100 goals across all competitions, only with Barcelona and Bayern Munich in Europe. So
and funny, those 3 teams are ranked the top 3 teams in the world.
I
Like,
wonder why, right?
yes, exactly.
Another stat for you here. Arsenal have the second most open play goals, only behind Manchester City in 2026. Manchester City have 35, Arsenal have 29. So, as you said, Arsenal dominate on set pieces, which is a big factor in a game. You look for small margins to win, but they're still scoring goals from open play against teams who
Well
are sitting back against them.
well, and, you know, this is a shout out to Erling Haaland in Man City. Arsenal doesn't have Erling Haaland. We don't have a beast like that who's going to allow us to score more goals from open play. Like, yes, I mean, I would take an Erling Haaland, right? So, I think people have to be kind of realistic about the players each team has.
I think Arsenal and Manchester City are finding ways to win, but Manchester City are kind of lacking the grit that Arsenal have to get all the results over the line. That it's been flipped in seasons past, and people are upset, I think, about that, Dad. And it's just a little bit silly at the end of the day. And the whole time wasting argument, Arsenal don't even waste the most time in the league comparatively for getting the ball out. It's actually Sunderland, Brentford, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, and then I believe Leeds United are all ahead of Arsenal in average time of delay on restarts. So Arsenal's not even the worst in the league at delaying. I know they do it, but every team does it. Let's be
They
real.
all do it, and I believe, you know, we've talked recently about they've just changed rules for things like throw-ins and substitutions to try to hurry that stuff up. I'm pretty sure I came out as a big fan of most of it, even
Yeah.
if it impacts Arsenal. So, I think people are recognizing it, and they're trying to fix it. And by the way, this is not just a Premier League problem. My God, watch a South American league and how much time wasting goes on there all the time. So, yeah, I love that, FIFA, they want to get the game, keep it going. I am a fan of that. And I
Absolutely.
want Arsenal to do it too.
And then everyone will have to tactically adapt to those new rules. It's a constant evolution and cycle. And this year, Arsenal have been the best at exploiting the game and teams' weaknesses. They've seen the margin is score on set pieces when you can and essentially mess up the tempo of the game when you need to. They know what they need to do to grind out results. And at the end of the day, I think people know Arsenal fans won't care if it wins them trophies. And it's never affected any other fans either. If your team wins, you don't care what other people think.
I mean, do you think Man City fans care that they cheated? They don't care. They just know how many
No.
trophies they have.
No, absolutely not. And they're going to hold on to that. And those are memories for them, that from all the way back in 2012 when they won their first with Aguero scoring that goal against QPR, like those things don't leave fans, regardless of what happened outside of the football pitch. Like those are what fans live for. Arsenal fans, if they win cups this year, will also live by those memories. They won't remember people, if Fabian Hertzler going off in a press conference about how he would never play that way. It's like, well, there's probably a reason he's not coaching Arsenal.
Right, and to use a non-soccer example, I mean, Houston Astro fans, we know for a fact that they cheated that whole season with banging on the, what do you call it, trash can and all that kind of stuff and using video. Astro fans didn't throw away their World Series champion shirts.
Yeah,
And
because
it's
fans
not like
don't care.
Arsenal are cheating. Arsenal are adapting, as you said, to the style of play. And hopefully the pendulum will swing back in the next few seasons and it will become a more up-tempo, more open flow game. I think everyone would be fine with that.
Absolutely. And I think that's why we all stick around, right? We like to watch a changing game. It's constantly changing in how it's played. I mean, you looked 30 years ago, the game looks nothing like it does now, you know? I mean,
So,
you can attest to that more than I can, but yeah, I think we'll see how the season plays out here, and hopefully Arsenal get over the line. That's just a little bit of bias coming through. But anyways, on to some fun going on in the world of football. Underdogs of the week. Dad, I went first last week, so why don't you go ahead?
all right, this probably will not surprise our fans at all, but I'm choosing Port Vale, bottom of League One. And by bottom, I do mean last place the last time I looked,
Yep.
beating Sunderland 1-0 in the FA Cup. This is, and I actually saw that header. It just got over the outstretched hand of the Sunderland keeper. And I mean, just the place exploded and like just amazing. And I tell you what, I mean, Mansfield could have done that to Arsenal. There was that chance. It was close. It was 1-1 for a while. But yeah, I mean, that is fantastic. I feel like didn't Arsenal play Port Vale earlier in the year at some point? I don't know why I feel like we
Oh,
did.
I can't remember if they did. We might have played them in the League Cup. There's
Yeah.
definitely potential there. But Dad, what I loved most about your underdog pick here, the guy who scored for Port Vale is a Newcastle fan. So scoring against Sunderland, probably a dream of his. And
Well,
did
yeah.
did Alan Shearer's famous celebration when he scored the goal. So
Did he?
shout out to him for that, because that's class.
All right. Who is your underdog of the week?
Yeah, Dad, mine just happened today, not that long ago, but this I found really astounding. AC Milan, they win the derby again, 1-0 against Inter, keeps them in the title race. They're 7 points behind, so it's unlikely, but keeps them in it, right? But AC Milan have not lost in the derby in all competitions in 7 games, 5 wins and 2 draws against Inter, which I think is astounding considering Inter's dominance over Serie A the last 5 or so years, I'd say. I don't know. I think it's a big win. I know it was 1 versus 2, so it's not a big underdog, but I think it's just impressive. AC Milan, even though they're missing out on trophies and in Europe this past year,
Yeah.
they're still finding a way to beat Inter, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some of these matchups, they just favor another team, one team over another. And so it seems to be that right now AC Milan are in that pattern where their matchup, it's benefiting them, matchups across the field. Did Pulisic play in that game at all today, or is he?
Yeah. He started at striker. I mean, according to FotMob, I didn't watch enough of the game, but he got like a 7.7, I think. So had a great game. And yeah, like clearly to your point, Dad, Milan just have Inter's number right now somehow. And I think this was a classic Italian game. AC Milan go ahead in the first half off a great ball through the middle to their outside wing back, Estupinian, who used to play for Brighton. Estupinian puts it away, and defensive matchup the rest of the game. I mean, classic Italian football, right?
Do the same fans who complain about Arsenal and the Premier League complain about Serie A? Because they would
Yeah.
call this boring, right?
I think, well, and actually, it's funny. I have heard some people talk about that, the comparison of how the Premier League is going through a similar evolution that Serie A did about 25 years ago, where the games are getting much closer and decided by much finer margins usually. You know, you'll still get the domination here and there, but it's very similar patterns, and I think Serie A will eventually, or it already has, come back to being different, right? Like it'll continue to evolve. And I think people need to realize that.
Well, one thing we know with soccer and all sports is they do continue to evolve. It's no, it's not going to stay this way forever. You know, so you're saying that they're 1 and 2 in the title race. How many matches are left? Like 7 or 8 matches in the season? I mean, 7 points doesn't seem impossible, or is it?
I mean, I don't think it's impossible. You know, we definitely have to look at both teams' run-ins and, you know, what they have to play. I mean, I will say Milan are don't have any other competitions. Inter did just get knocked out of the Champions League, so they might only have Serie A left as well. And I think that leans to Inter's favor, right? You know, if you're going head to head. But they have 10 games left in Serie A. It's not out of the question.
That's a lot. That's plenty because I think Premier League has what? I think Arsenal have 8 games left, which is still a decent window, but I definitely think that this gives AC Milan a little boost, keeps their title hopes alive, albeit probably, I'm sure statistically their title hopes are less than 10%, or somewhere in that neighborhood, but that doesn't mean zero. And so, wow, what an amazing finish to the season that would be if somehow they come back and win the title.
Absolutely. And I don't want to drag this on, but I mean, AC Milan have lost less games than Inter. Inter have simply won more, and AC Milan have drawn too many. So that's kind of where I think AC Milan need to pick it up. They need to turn those draws into wins the rest of the season to catch up. But we'll see
Yes,
if Inter slows down enough for them to catch up.
we shall see.
Absolutely. But Dad, we are on to our VAR You Serious Moment of the week. And this one, we literally just found out about today as well. And I didn't hear of it. You didn't hear of it. You thought it was hilarious because it kind of is. Bundesliga 2 game, so second division in Germany. In Munster against Hertha Berlin. Hertha Berlin ended up winning the game 2-1, but there was a penalty check, Dad, for Hertha Berlin. And remember, we're at Preußen Munster's stadium, but penalty check, and they send it for on-field review on the screen for the referee. We have a masked Preußen Munster fan that goes down to the screen, gets on the field, goes down to the screen, and unplugs the screen. I'm assuming in some sort of protest or to hopefully throw the game off. But Dad, what do we think? I mean, this is just insanity.
Who was that masked man?
Eh,
He's a bit of a hero of mine. There's
yeah,
a old here comes the old man moment for a minute. There's an old movie called Airplane,
yeah,
uh, what was early 80s, late 70s, and just a slapstick dumb movie, but funny. And at
yeah,
one point, there's one of the guys, they show him pulling the plug on the runway lights. And he, just kidding, and he plugs it back in. Sorry,
yeah,
kind of reminds me of that moment. Yeah, I
great.
mean, I think fans, I'm not condoning him running on the field with a mask, although kind of funny. But it shows you that fans are pretty fed up with
Yeah.
VAR. And we just talked about the rules changing to widen the scope of VAR. So I think you might be seeing more masked men in the future.
Well, and Dad, I think this is especially interesting because most second divisions do not have VAR, but Bundesliga 2 does. right? Like the championship does not have VAR.
Right.
Only like, I mean, so for lower league fans too, they're probably even more frustrated because it's just simply it's not with the norm, and obviously, everyone has their concessions on VAR. So when you have two guys from the ultra section literally going over a spiked fence to unplug a monitor on a sideline, I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, it just shows you how much they're pissed off about it. And then they said, I guess they chanted, pull the plug on VAR after this instance happened.
Yeah.
So maybe it was planned for this moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going anywhere, but, I definitely see, why fans are tired of it. So I think at some point, I don't know what it looks like, where it has to go. I think increasing the scope of VAR is not gonna help, but I don't know if it's a matter of artificial intelligence, just continuing better technology, robots. I don't know what it's gonna take to make this finally. It's never gonna be perfect, and those people expecting perfect are being unrealistic, but
Absolutely.
it's got to be more accurate, and it's gotta be faster. It just the efficiency, it has to be faster, and I don't know how we get there unless we rely more on technology, right?
Totally. And I think actually JJ Watt of the NFL made a great point. He's I think maybe the main owner of Burnley. And, Burnley have been hard done by a few decisions this year, as most clubs have been. And JJ Watt simply said, he's like, what happened to clear and obvious? He's like, no one seems to say that anymore. And he's like, that's why we brought it in. That's how we voted on it. He's like, if it's not clear and obvious within the first 30 seconds of a check, the call should stand as called on the field. He's like, we're calling people offsides for toenails and noses and wasting 5 minutes of everyone's time when they could have simply said, he's basically onside. Cool, done. If we have to bring out the lines and the semi-automated offsides for someone's face, he's like, that's not clear and obvious. And I don't know what you think about that, Dad, but I think he has a great point.
Well, I mean, I'll share a story from my first girls' high school game last week. We ended up drawing 0-0 against a really solid club, and we scored, and refs pulled the ball out of the net, and they said it was offsides. At the time, my player was certain it wasn't. Of course, people like, oh, well, of course the player's going to say it wasn't. And then sure enough, I looked at the film, and not only was there one person keeping her onside, one person was keeping her onside by at least 2 yards, but there were two additional girls keeping her onside. And how do I know? Here in Colorado, high school soccer is typically played on fields with football lines. So you
Yeah.
have tons of lines to show you where people are. So I don't need VAR because I've got lines painted on the turf. So it's funny. Part of me is like, oh God, I wish VAR could be so widely used that we could overcome these terrible, inconsistent high school refs. But I know we're not talking about women's high school soccer, but just to show you, part of me wants it more widespread, but at the highest level, I want less of it. So it's just one of those things.
It's tough, but good on the fans here for making a statement. I think it was a statement that no one else has made before, right? So kind of a funny one that everyone can have a laugh at and prompts us to talk more, right? So, I mean, I don't even think we give any sort of cards here. Maybe we give a card to the Bundesliga. I don't even know here, but I guess no verdict. I think it's just
Wait,
more
what
funny.
what are those? It's not a blue card. Isn't there some like positive behavior card in indoor or young soccer or
There was
just
some sort of thing that they were doing, probably like a green card or something. Yeah,
whatever it is? That's the card I want to give the masked man. Give that man
yeah,
a nice card.
and their colors are green, so we'll give them a green card saying that, they did the right thing here, standing up.
Sounds good to me. All right. Let's move on to our parting shots. I believe you will be taking the odd questions and I will be taking the even questions today.
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
Alright.
First question of the day. Can Haji Wright replicate his scoring form in the Premier League?
I think that's tough to say. I'm gonna say no, just because, the championship is hard in its own way, but then you come up against a Premier League defense and it's just a whole different ball game. We've seen guys play really well in the Championship, then come up to the Premier League and do absolutely nothing. I like Haji Wright a lot. I think he's become a really decent striker as an American too, but he can't replicate it in the Premier League. I think that's unlikely.
He's in double digits, isn't he, at this point in the Championship?
Yeah, he's the top scorer. I think he has 16 or 17 now. I believe he's still the top scorer. So, I mean, he's having a season.
I could see him, I mean, man, promoted into the Premier League, just that first season especially, it's so crazy hard. I mean, I
Especially
could
for a
see.
Coventry team that hasn't been in the Premier League in years.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him snagging 7 or 8 goals in the Premier League.
It's not impossible, and I think the funny thing is that West Ham inquired about Haji Wright in the winter window when they were looking for strikers, and Coventry apparently said they wanted, like, 200 million or something. I pretty much, I think, just said, "He's not for sale."
So, that wasn't just a no, that was a F no.
Yeah, it was like, "Okay, yeah, you can have him if you pay us 200 million," which is absolutely ridiculous, but just to confirm here and fact check, Haji Wright is second behind Zan Vipotnik of Swansea. He's on 17 and Haji Wright's on 16.
Well, I love having him up there. Yes, I love my boy Haji Wright. I'm assuming he would be on the U.S. men's national team this summer and will get some playing time. But yeah, he is not worth anywhere close to 200 million pounds, dollars, whatever. So, all right,
Probably not, but
give me a
that
question.
this one, little more serious with things going on right now, but will Iran withdraw from the World Cup?
I don't know if they will, but I think they should. I mean, I understand sports are supposed to kind of transcend politics and so on. But I mean, dude, have you seen the images coming from Iran right now with oil on fire raining down from the sky? The people of Iran are living in a hellscape. And I know I can almost see the video this summer of the team if they do play and showing these horrible images and how the soccer players are giving hope to a war-torn country and all that. I don't know. And besides, I don't know if these players will get out of here free. Are they going to come? Are they going to be jailed for some reason? I mean, the political climate in this world, in Europe, in the US, is as tenuous as I've ever seen it. So I don't know if they will withdraw. I think they should withdraw.
Well, Dad, and to your point, I mean, this is on, it's going past politics a little bit, right? I mean, we're talking about full on war currently ensuing. Also, I've seen reports already of some Iranian players, specifically Taremi. He plays for Olympiacos. Reportedly, he told Olympiacos management that he wanted to go home. He felt like it wasn't right for him to be playing a sport while his people were in peril, essentially.
Yeah.
And I don't know how true this was, but I saw reports of it. So you'd imagine he's at least feeling something enough to where it got out to the media that he's concerned. So to your point, yeah, is soccer even close to a priority right now for any of these guys?
I can't imagine how it would be, but probably depends on the guy. But I'm thinking a majority of them, it's tough to say the least.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Another question for you. Was Chelsea's Liam Rosenier judged too harshly at the time of his hiring?
I think so. He was judged because he was coming from Strasbourg. Let's be honest, a team nowhere near Chelsea's level, even though it's basically their feeder team at this point.
Yeah.
I think people really doubted him, but the guy has only lost 3 games, and all of them have been against Arsenal, who arguably are one of the best teams in the world right now, if not the best team in the world. Otherwise, he has 10 wins and 2 draws in 15 games. I mean,
Yeah.
he's leading Chelsea potentially back in the Champions League, trying to fix the young squad's issues. So I think Liam Rosenier was judged too harshly at the beginning of the season.
Well, and gosh, I mean, I feel like we earlier, a couple months ago, all we could talk about is people being hired and fired within 6, 7, 8 matches. And I'm glad that, even though he didn't struggle, it's like I feel like some of these guys just need more time. Like, I think we've mentioned this before, but like Slot at Liverpool, yeah, it's been a tough season for sure. But let the guy finish the season, right? And on the flip side of that, with Rosen, like, yeah, he's done a lot of good things so far. Has he earned the job going forward? I think so. Same thing with Michael Carrick at Man United. Like, think so, but can we like let these guys coach at least half a season, at least 20 or 30 matches before we make any kind of decision on them? Really, a whole full season. There should almost be a rule that these guys, unless something really outrageous happens, illegal, unethical, immoral, that these teams should have to stick with their coach for the whole season.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, there's a lot of arguments, I think, against that, though, because you can have a new manager come in some cases, and completely change the fortunes of a team. I mean, West Ham looked down and out a few months ago, and now, I mean, they look like one of the most likely teams to get out of the relegation zone with Nuno. So, I think it definitely goes both ways. I agree with you, though. Things like Nottingham Forest, maybe it's a rule where you can't have more than 2 in a season, because Nottingham Forest having 4 managers this year is
mm,
crazy.
one, you get one change a season. That's all you get.
Well, that's what I
Like,
said, 1 change a season, so you get 2 different managers if you want. You can start
I
with
thought you
1
meant
and
two
change.
changes.
No,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
like, you can essentially, yeah, it's like a transfer window. You can, like, switch it mid-season or something if you want, right?
And how about that? How about you can only switch managers during the January transfer window
I
just to
mean,
add
maybe it
more
would make it
chaos?
more interesting, you never know, right? Like, it's like, "Okay, well, yeah, you're actually out, and we got a new guy coming in." Um, anyways, we'll see what happens with the rest of Chelsea's season, but I think Liam was definitely, too harshly judged.
All right, next question for me.
Yes, sir. Dad, who is the Premier League striker signing of the season? João Pedro, Gyökeres, Sesko, or Ekitike?
Well, I can tell you right away it's not Gyökeres. He's steadily improved. He's doing a lot, but we did a little analysis prior to the podcast today, and it seems pretty clear that it's João Pedro. The guy is a scoring machine. He's also assisting. He is got to be one of the main, if not the main reason that Chelsea's making a run at a European slot for next year. And I think he and Gyökeres have played similar amount of minutes. So that straight up comparison pretty clearly favors João Pedro. Gyökeres is the best pure scorer, I guess, if you look at it that way, but that's only because he doesn't have a lot of assists. And I think the other two, Shesko and Ekitike, are pretty far off the pace of the other two.
But definitely younger, probably some potential there for sure for both of those guys.
All right. Will Alexander Isak leave Liverpool if they miss Champions League? I thought this is a joke question, but go ahead.
I honestly think, I should have rephrased this question when I put it in, but I think there's a real chance some of these big Liverpool stars that were just brought in potentially want out the door if they miss Champions League this year. Now, would it be really hard for them to get out? Of course. I mean, guys like Verts and Isak were brought in for ridiculous amounts of money. And Liverpool's a historic club. You think they'd be able to keep him, but I mean, Isak forced his way out of Newcastle this past year, and they had Champions League. They have Champions League this year.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's out of the question at all. I think one of Liverpool's star players will 100% leave if they miss Champions League.
Liverpool will lose a lot of money on that signing. I guarantee you they're not going to get what they paid for them.
Well, but they're going to need to regain some money somehow. I know they sold a decent amount this summer, but missing Champions League for them is somewhat catastrophic for how much money they did spend this past year. I think, I can't speak for their finances directly, but I'm sure they have to kind of watch themselves in terms of PSR going forward.
Absolutely. And honestly, if Isak tries to force his way out after one season at Liverpool, and not a very good season, if you ask me, obviously there's been some injury and so on. I mean, like, who the hell's going to want that guy with that kind of attitude? Like, no thanks, not like interested in that at all.
I mean, I'll say, Dad, real quickly, I think if there was one guy to leave, potentially Florian Wirtz back to Germany, to Bayern Munich. That's the one that I think is most realistic. We'll see though if that actually comes to fruition.
All right, ask me the last question of the day.
Yes, sir. Dad, which underdog will win their first Champions League tie this week in the round of 16?
Well, I was gonna go with Sporting over Bodo Glimt, just because I think that train is coming to an end, that train ride's coming to an end. But, I think I'm gonna go just in line with our discussion of João Pedro. I think I'm gonna go with, Chelsea over PSG in Paris, and I'm going to predict that Pedro scores the goal that makes the difference in that game. So that's me going way out on a limb, and I do not like going out on limbs, especially with predictions. But yeah, not that I want Chelsea to win, I just think they will win.
I was gonna say, I think that's your boldest prediction we've ever had on the pod. So round of applause. Amazing. I like
It
it.
will probably blow up in my face badly, and I will not make a prediction of any sort for months from now, but we'll see.
Well, if you get it right, I'm gonna send an email to every betting company and ask for them to sponsor us because we have the Oracle that knows. So we'll see our what happens in that match. But Dad, great episode today, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment. Please do it for both of us. We love interacting with you guys, and we want to keep coming back every week. So let's keep it going, right, Dad?
Sounds good to me. I'm excited for another week of soccer. I'm still keep thinking it's gonna be the US men's national team, but hey, shout out to the women's national team for a couple of good victories recently. More of that to come.
Absolutely. Congrats to them. But thank you guys again for another week. We will see y'all next time. Have a good one. Bye bye.